One of my favorite books of all times is Psycho-Cybernetics. And if you haven't read that book, I highly encourage you guys to read it because it is literally so mind blowing, but so well written that it's so relevant even now. You know what I mean? And I feel, if anything, it's more relevant than ever now. One thing that really stuck out in the book is this whole concept of we all have our own self image, as well as how others perceive us. Like, we also have our own image of how we perceive ourselves, right? And the reason why that's so crucial to understand is because sometimes, no matter how we're perceived on the outside, if our own self image of ourselves isn't to a high standard, then we're always going to see our own flaws and insecurities. I think in the book, he talks about an analogy where a guy, well, it's not even an analogy, I think it's based on like an actual patient of his, but someone that was constantly just miserable because of a certain feature that they had. And it drove him to like really, really low points. And it's so relevant because you see that all the time today, where some people will get so fixated on a feature that they have which they absolutely hate, to the point where they're willing to go and get surgery. Now, I'm not in any way saying like, oh, like surgery is terrible, blah blah blah, like that's a whole different conversation. And I think sometimes it might be necessary, but when it's done in ways that are like purely for cosmetic purposes, and not really fixing the core issue, then it can definitely be more harmful, and obviously can lead to people getting more and more surgery to like fix what's on the surface and not really getting to the core issue. And we're living in like a society now where it's just so common for girls, and especially young girls, just go out and immediately just get something fixed, like cosmetically, through surgery. And it's shocking because I feel like now it's just so much more accessible because of the kind of role models we have in society now, and the kind of people that people are looking up to. Which, again, if that's for you, that's absolutely fine. But it definitely is worrying when we're just relying on surgery to fix aspects of ourselves. You know what I mean? Because really, it's the self that's broken. It's aspects of like our how we perceive ourselves that's really broken. There's nothing flawed about our appearance unless we see it as a flaw, right? You can equally see it as something beautiful and something unique, something that was created for you, right? And I think the issue with that also is that everyone has insecurities. And I think sometimes when we grow older, we learn to love our insecurities sometimes. And I think when you're just so quick to rush to surgery for everything, especially as someone that's young, like I just think it's such a almost irrational decision, because it's like, you don't know what that feature will look like in 10 years. It's probably going to change anyway. For you to immediately resort to that, you're not really getting to the core of the issue, where it's like, why do you perceive it as something that needs to be changed? Like, why do you hate that about yourself to the point where you would need to get it removed, or you would need to get it, changed in whatever way? Like, who told you that what you had wasn't okay and that you needed something else to be accepted? And I 100% agree to an extent that society does impact that decision and it does encourage it, but also I think it's very important that we also take accountability for our part and for giving into these trends, and for not doing that inner work that needs to be done, for immediately looking for a quick fix solution versus, hang on, like, what's really going on here? Let me get to the core of the issue. Am I really happy with myself? And if I am, and then I'm just going to get surgery on top, that's great. But if like I'm miserable and like I'm just finding faults to pick at for no reason, like all the time, and I'm just extremely critical of myself, like surgery will never fix that for you. And you will see, like, there's so many cases of people that just go to such extreme lengths to completely alter their appearances, and they're still absolutely miserable, and they pretty much look unrecognizable. And really what you're seeing surfacing there is just self-hatred in a sense, isn't it? I think if you can like know your boundaries when you're getting it, that's kind of different. But I'm specifically talking about the people that are extremely miserable within themselves and just constantly looking at all of their flaws and looking at all of their features as if they are something extremely unattractive, and are just in that state of just absolute sadness, really. I just think it's very, very sad. And if you do get it fixed, it might make you feel good for a little while, but best believe it will not fix that confidence issue, it will not fix your self-esteem issues, it will not in any way affect like how you perceive yourself in the long run. So really and truly, I think we really need to take accountability for ourselves and start doing that inner work, and really make sure that we're seeing the best in ourselves, that we're perceiving our insecurities as not something to be extremely ashamed of. Like, yeah, sure, there's some things that, you know, you'd rather have and blah, blah, blah. That's, I guess, pretty natural, but not to the point where we're hating ourselves, right? That's just like self-rejection. It's like if I see, for example, an eye color and that's just like ideal and it's just wonderful, like don't do it to the point where you're hating on your own eye color. You know what I mean? Like, stop rejecting yourself. It's bad enough that society rejects you based on your appearance, if that's how you feel, and then for you to internalize that and reject yourself as well, that's only going to lead you to misery. They're really and truly the only way to break free from that, because society is always going to have expectations of you. You're never going to be 100 with society, no matter what. So the only way to truly break free from that is change how you perceive yourself and really work on your own self-image and nourishing like that and how you uplift yourself. And then you'll start to see more better results in the long term. And absolutely, it's 100% easier said than done. And I completely understand that we are in a society where it's encouraged to just get a quick fix, absolutely. But it's always possible when you take accountability and you take full responsibility of things. That's when you can make a change for the better. So if you want to break free from that, that's the way to go. As hard as it is, that's the way to go. So I hope this video benefits you guys in some ways. I hope it gets you thinking in other ways. And yeah, definitely give this video a comment. Let me know your thoughts and experiences and opinions. And if you like this video, give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks, guys.